Hello, everyone. This is Alexander Horat with the Morgan Millennial Minute Report. The show is brought to you by David Morgan of themorganreport.com. Today, we're going to be talking to a self-made millennial millionaire named Madeline Mann. Hello, Madeline. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Alexander.
Can you tell millennials how they can become a success in the business world?
So I really focus on finding that career path that is what is going to lead them to their success. So one thing that I really tell people to first understand is what are your strengths and your values? And then also finding roles that pertain to that match that with market demand. So a lot of people, there's this idea for millennials of we need to chase our passion. It's all about doing what you love. And that advice is often taken the wrong way. Really, what you want to find is not necessarily chasing our hobbies of, oh, I like sports, so I'm going to work in sports, or I like jewelry, so I'm just going to make jewelry all day. But instead looking at what are my strengths? What am I good at that other people aren't? What are my values? What do I need from a job every day that will actually make me happy? And then what is the market demand? So is there actually a demand for these skills? And so following those three, instead of just diving in, oh, what is your passion? I've seen much better results.
Okay, so how can millennials not get themselves into debt?
One thing that I've seen that is such a misstep is folks will avoid going into the job market if they're unsure about what their next step is or whatnot, and instead go get a master's degree or a really expensive or take so much time off and go to school. And while I have a master's degree, it worked out great for me. Diving into a really expensive degree without knowing exactly what you're going to do with that degree, that exact path, and being sure about it, that can be a huge misstep. And so instead, what I encourage people to do is to take the path that's less paved, to start building skills, to start finding different companies or small businesses and really volunteering your skills and working with them and being scrappy about creating your own opportunities. And often you can get roles quicker, faster, but it's not necessarily easier or a clearer path. And that's why fewer people take it.
Okay. So one thing that I've seen is that a lot of millennials seem to have a lot of debt. What is a good way for millennials to get rid of this debt?
So I'm not a financial expert, so I wouldn't say that I could tell people exactly the way to get out of debt. I just really feel that it's really all about understanding what is your career path, really holding out for those right roles, putting in the right strategies when you are building out your career, and also developing side hustles. I've seen that so many millennials have really been able to get out of debt through uh, turning some of their time after their 9 to 5, their 5 to 9, where they also have a YouTube channel or a Etsy store or a Fiverr account where they're actually utilizing other skills and being able to bridge the gap there.
Okay. So how can millennials learn to invest in themselves?
Oh my gosh, this is so important. This is truly the key to my personal success, is really understanding where are my gaps. And I actually have coaches for each one of those gaps. And so what I think is really important is once you're clear on your goals, surrounding yourself with peer groups that are pursuing similar goals. And then those people will often have access or will alert you of different resources of, like, I like to join coaching programs where I'm being coached, where there's curriculum. And I think what people are often weird about is it's like, oh, well, that's expensive. But while it is expensive, it is an investment that goes straight back to you. And then there's a massive return on investment. So I really feel that if you're going to put your pocketbook anywhere, put it in investing in yourself and leveling up.
Right, that seems to make sense. So do you think it's a good idea for millennials to have gold and silver in their portfolio?
I think that those are very stable, enduring elements to a portfolio. So I know that that's definitely part of my portfolio. But again, since I'm not a financial expert, I would probably leave that to the experts to really advise on it.
Okay, so how can a millennial be successful in creating their own business?
With building your own business, I think it's really all about understanding that you want to experiment. And one of the ways you can experiment is by building in public. What so many people think is that they kind of think they have this great idea. They go into a hole, they build it for years, they launch it, it's a failure. What's a little bit better is to be a bit iterative. So building in public. So saying, for example, I have a friend who she helps people with their with being more financially stable. And she would post in all these Facebook groups all the time and give lots of advice. And she announced, okay, I think I'm going to move in towards writing a book. What would you all buy it? And also, what would you want to see in that book? And she instantly got all these people saying, yes, I would buy it. And here's what I want in the book. And so she wrote this book in public. She basically wrote it with her audience, contributing information. And you can do this with a product. You can do this all kind of different things. And so then when she launched the book, she ended up having lots of sales, becoming like a top Amazon publisher. I think she has over 10,000 reviews on her book. It's called Money Honey. And so I think it's really cool that you can, make that happen in public versus feeling like you have to be perfect from the onset.
Yeah, that seems like a really great success story. So what is a good sector in the business world for millennials to get into?
It's pretty cool how accessible it is these days to get into these different niches. Like you can really, whatever is your expertise, such as if you're really good at being creative, maybe there's some way that you can really start your own design firm that really helps all kinds of companies with their logos or whatnot. For me, it really was, I didn't even realize that career coaching could be such a massive business for me. I just worked in human resources and just wanted to help people. And so what you want to do is really looking online and understanding how your skill set could actually be transmitted through the internet. I think that brick and mortar is a bit more difficult. It's challenging. You can do it. I think a lot of times people want to start a coffee shop, they want to start a restaurant. That's very challenging. It is often easier to maybe go for something that's a bit more digital and a bit more around your intellectual property. And I've seen that to work really well for people.
So what is a good way for millennials to market their business?
I teach people how to market their business on LinkedIn. And what so many people do is they often sleep on LinkedIn as being an incredible social media platform to absolutely scale your career and scale your business. I started posting on LinkedIn and I was kind of posting haphazardly and I would get just a few likes, a few comments, whatnot. And then I started really unlocking what are the secrets behind like the algorithm, what LinkedIn rewards, what it punishes, how to get the best results. And I ended up having just a few thousand connections. And every post I was posting was getting 30,000, 50,000 impressions and like so much engagement, and end up just completely launching my business into the stratosphere. And so I really recommend to use LinkedIn, not only just use LinkedIn, but understand the intricacies of it. And if this is new news to anyone, you can go to my website madelinemann.com and I have some information on it. But yes, LinkedIn is the way.
So how did you build yourself up on LinkedIn? How did you get that many impressions?
Yes. So what happened was I was testing all these different things on LinkedIn. One of the things that I ended up uncovering is that there's these 5 triggers of virality. That if you hit all of them in a post, you can really send that post into the stratosphere. That really enables people to take action on your post. Also, then you want people to be able to take action when they go to your profile, because it's one thing to draw them in on a post, but you then want, when they come to your profile, you want to be able to convert them. So having very clear ways of converting people to then do whatever, right? Buy your product, join your email list, book a call with you, all of those things. So that pipeline is really amazing. And what I found is that even though I do have a website, as I mentioned, the madelineman.com, I've been using for years my LinkedIn profile as a high traffic landing page, and it has changed my business.
Okay. So what keeps people stagnant in the business world?
I think that people sometimes get comfortable. They might not be changing and iterating. That's something that I'm very aware of as a business owner, is that what's working today is not going to work in a few months, in a few years. And so I also think there's also a bit of this sunk cost fallacy, where people will say, well, I've already invested so much into this path, I'm just going to keep going. And that doesn't really allow them to reevaluate and think, is this the best choice for me? And if you do kind of get down that path and you're unsure if it is a sunken cost fallacy or not, you just need to ask yourself, if knowing what I know today, would I make the same decision to go down this path today as I did before? And if the answer is no, it's likely a time to change directions, move in a different way, even if you've already invested a lot in a certain path.
So basically, people need to be able to change their business model if their business is failing, right?
Yeah. And it's just, we have seen so many examples of businesses that were absolutely thriving at one point, and then something in the world changed and it just didn't make sense anymore. So it happens to incredible companies that have done so many things right.
Oh, that seems to make sense. Could you give us an example of a company that has happened to?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you have Blockbuster that was top of the world and really was not able to evolve into this new world that we're living in.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how can millennials build and preserve wealth?
I think that it really, everyone has their own strategy, but I think that it's so important to make sure that our money is working for us. I know that there's this whole concept that I always thought in, is that you just need to save lots of money. And while saving money is good, it's definitely a good thing, we need to be investing. We need to be educating ourselves on how we're investing intelligently. But what I love about you all here is that you are helping people to really understand how to do it, because it's not like this it's not something that is unattainable for the average person. Anyone can invest. We can make this happen, but it's scary. And I just want to make sure that people are definitely, taking the time to figure out what to do with their portfolio.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Self-Made Millennial. I'm also on TikTok. And come to my website, madelineman.com. I have lots of free resources and templates. And you can also learn a lot more about my LinkedIn programs as well, if you're interested in that.
Well, that seems really great, Madeline. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Alexander.
Okay, and I hope we can have you on again soon. And thank you all for watching this video, everyone. God bless.